probably someone in your life that you don't want to hug, but I would bet you the person that you don't want to hug is actually the person you should hug, and here's why.
Born in 92 on the block with the Sharks. Come from a different cloth, y'all would get ripped apart. You want it diamond, then you gotta get it in the dark. We dropping nuggets like Carmelo went to Rucker Park. Now we eating from state to state, we scrape the plate. I put my eggs in a basket, took a leap of faith. I took a chance, now we grow and see the impact. Decoding Success with special guests, now let's bring Matt.
Welcome to the Decoding Success Podcast, top 1% globally ranked show. Thanks to you, the individual that is tuned into this right now. You might be a returning member of our incredible community of listeners, and I want to welcome you back to the show for a solo episode that is about to get deep. And maybe this is your first time you ever discovered us, and I want to welcome you with open arms into our incredible community and just say to brace yourself, because this episode is really going there right now. Just like that hook said, right? There's probably someone that is in your life that you don't want to hug, but they should be the person you hug. Now, slightly controversial in some aspects, but the purpose and the point is the person who hurt you is the exact person that was sent to help you. Pain is transformational. I hate to admit it because I don't want to experience it. No one wants to experience pain. I have never met someone that's like, give me pain. And in some contexts, I know some people crave it, but we're not going there, guys. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not into that type of stuff over here. But seriously, like, pain is an absolutely transformational thing in our life. And when we experience said pain, well, to be honest, I mean, it's very easy for us to hate the person that inflicted it or dislike the person that inflicted it. But I want you to think about this differently. There's a reason that person was in your life, whether it be for a season or for a lifetime. The person that inflicts the pain is a soulmate. Soulmates are people that are sent to us divinely by God, divinely by a greater power, that absolutely revolutionize our life. They challenge us. They break us, but the challenges in the breaking are what makes us, right? So every single moment in our lives that we experience this pain inflicted by someone, of course, we're looking at them and, they're a part of the experience. So it's so easy for us to just look at them and point the finger and blame them. And that leads you to not wanting to give them the hug. But there's a very powerful phrase or equation, actually, that rings true in so many different regards. By the way, when I say equation, I absolutely sucked at math. So I don't want you to think that you need to bust out the calculator here. It's not mathematical in that regard. The equation is E plus P equals O. And I'm just going to let you know, when I started to see letters in math, that's when I checked out. Again, you don't need the calculator for this. The E stands for events, the P stands for perspective, and the O stands for outcome. So in other words, events plus perspective equals the outcome. This was referenced by John Gordon in a really great book called The Energy Bus. Now, we don't get to control the events that take place in our life. We don't get to control the person who has hurt us. And maybe we do try to control it, where we might stay single for a really long time, or we might not put ourselves out there in particular ways so that we can't fail or be hurt, right? To protect ourselves. And in reality, what we're actually doing is simply avoiding our truest potential. But knowing that we can't control the events, what we can actually control is the perspective. How do we look at the pain that was inflicted upon us? Divinely, might I add, right? Because pain is divinely placed in our life, on our course, to shape us, to chisel at the masterpiece that you are. So I want to make sure that I'm not conveying this the wrong way. I'm not saying that you break up with someone and the snap of a finger, the blink of an eye, all of a sudden you realize wow, thank you. Yesterday I broke up with you, but today I'm so grateful for all of this magical transformation. Guys, We're freaking human. Like, let's be mad at them. Let's feel a little hate toward them. Let's feel a little resentment. Let's be mad at ourselves or whatever. Like, yeah, embrace those moments. Those make the stories. Mistakes make stories. That's freaking awesome. But when you get 6 months down the line, 6 years down the line, 60 years down the line, and you look back on that moment, it's really hard not to say, wow, thank you. For example, in 2020, you might have heard me say this on past episodes. And if you haven't, it's because you haven't subscribed, so make sure you smash that button. But in past episodes, I've shared with you how I've had my world rocked many different occasions. Most recently was probably in 2020, where I was in a relationship, and I take full accountability for it because I was the one that was willingly putting myself in said relationship and trying for said relationship. That really woke me up. I never realized that I allowed myself to be mistreated. And maybe not mistreated, but maybe I just didn't have my needs met. And that particular relationship was the relationship that transformed me to actually understanding what my needs are. It's hard to communicate what your needs are if you don't know what they are, right? Like, if you don't know what your needs are, well, how the hell are you going to communicate it, right? So when I look back on that particular experience, I'm like, wow, sure, there was a lot of pain. Took me months on end, like a lot of deep work, a lot of therapy, a lot of conversation, a lot of trying things. But now when I look back, I'm like, wow, I would not be in the incredible relationship that I'm in. I would not be able to show up the way that I show up in that relationship if it wasn't for the past one. When we look back, it's really easy to have 2020, but we need enough distance from the experience to be able to see it clearly. Because we could have a lot of judgment around it. We could still have resentment in all of these things. And I understand that you still might have resentment in certain situations or experiences. Rightfully so. I give you permission to explore that. But to walk away from this particular episode with some actionable steps, I want you to list out 3 people that hurt you. Who are those 3? Is it your mom? Is it your ex-girlfriend, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-husband, your best friend or your former best friend? Is it whoever? List out who those people are. Get clear on who hurt you. You probably had it the minute I said it. Right in your mind, the light bulb went off. Boop, 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 boop. I know all the people that hurt me, right? Then I want you to get clear on how they hurt you. What did they do? Did they betray you to the point of no return? Did they break your heart? Did they neglect you, not give you the attention, not give you the love, reject you? What was it specifically that they did? And then the last thing is, the most important, how did they transform you? Think about that. If you don't have an answer to it yet, you might still be too close to the experience, to the event. Events plus perspective equals outcome. If your perspective on the event is that they didn't transform me, okay, I got something for you. I want you to really think about it. Have you ever explored the hurt? Have you ever processed the hurt? Did you push down the hurt? I could speak to all of that because I am someone that carried around a heavy old bag of hurt for 27 years of life before I ever had the ability to process it. But if you are writing out that list of everyone that hurt you, understanding how they hurt you, and if you're coming up blank on how they have transformed you, you might be too close to that experience. And when you get really clear on how the pain from the experience with that ex-husband or that ex-girlfriend or whoever it may be, when you get clear on how they transformed you, you can't tell me you aren't thankful for them. You can't tell me you're not grateful for that particular experience. You wouldn't be who you are without them. You wouldn't be who you are without that pain. You wouldn't be who you are without that event. And it's your perspective that truly determines that outcome. Now, on that note, I'm sure I'm going to hear it in the comments because there might be some people you don't want to hug. And I get that. We're human. I might have one or two people that are like that as well. Although I will say I seen someone recently who I didn't see in many, many years that really hurt me. Really, really hurt me. He was like a best friend to me. And for the first time in over 12 years, 14 years, I'm sorry, probably 12, I bumped into him in a parking lot and I felt someone looking at me. This is the first time I seen this person in 12 years. And what I did in those moments of still hanging out with him after the event of being hurt, I really pushed down the pain that I felt. But when I saw him and I felt the eyeballs on me, after 12 years, I looked at him, I realized who it was. I walked up to the car and I dapped him up. Just hit him with a dap. Hey man, how are you? Kept it moving. I'm grateful for it. Does it still hurt when I think about it? Maybe a little bit. But like, that was the point of this episode. The event is uncontrollable. The perspective is what can be controlled. And that right there is what determines the outcome. Now, on that note, make sure you are in the show notes of this episode, the description of this episode, to subscribe on YouTube or subscribe on the audio so you can catch this on the go or sit down on the couch and decompress and watch this and just binge out. Make sure that you are subscribing. And hey, there might be someone in your life, by the way, I'm going to throw a little call to action in here as well. Beyond the subscribe, might be someone in your life that needs this. Be that beacon of light. Click that share button. Until next time, everyone, be blessed. Peace.